I'm going to perform some haikus and short journal pieces from this new collection that just came out this year called Travel by Haiku, Volumes 6 through 10, Far Out on the Road with Friends. And yeah, it's a sequel, so that's pretty cool. This collection of haikus came together over 3 separate road trips with 3 separate groups of people, and then we all co-wrote the haikus together, line for line, mountain for mountain, tree by tree, finding the words to see what was in front of us. I guess one thing I forgot to say when we opened this, but I feel like has been touched on by the other poets, is just like it's really special to be here with y'all. I feel like this year and a half now, maybe almost 2 years, has definitely like put us in a place where gathering is definitely difficult. And as a wanderer or a traveler, I definitely have felt that. As a person who homesteads in Taos and in Philadelphia, I've felt that. So yeah, I just like, I don't know, feel like it's necessary to be like, man, shit, we're going through it. But thankfully we still have each other in some place. But yeah, let's go on a journey. These are road trips that happened in 2016 and 2017. Or 2015 and 2016 and 17. They go all over the place. They go on the West Coast, they go up the Rockies, they go down the East Coast. And it's all about like finding those woods, like finding the place that really speaks to you. One of those places that's in this book is definitely Taos. So let's start with Taos. I sweat with my Taos family, brothers and sisters of the heart, the Clown Baron, Lakes Whole Lakes, and others visiting from New York City. We share this earthly womb while our grandmothers placed in the center of the lodge burned bright. Everyone calls me brother, or nephew, or grandson. Everyone is relearning this sacred rite, even those that have it deep in their bloodline. The time is ripe for it. We all have relatives with cancers or addictions. We all care about the next 7 generations. All of us send energy and protection to the peace walkers of Standing Rock in North Dakota. I sweat with my ancestors. Coyote howls. Red-tailed hawk flaps her wings in front of me. Deer whispers her curiosity for the world and tells me of her general modesty. The burning stones in the middle remind me of druid rock balances. In the complete dark, their faces come to me laughing and smiling. At one moment, so many voices are talking. I can hardly understand them, though I know they are talking to me. At another, wisps of light gather in my periphery and shoot back and forth every which way. Every time my heart beats, I see red in my eyelids, but now and then it's blue and green. I sit generally still and brace for the sea that washes over me. Other times I'm shaking, I'm dancing. I sweat with my elders. There's a lot of sweat to sweat out, more than I thought was possible. But my elders guide me. They share water and tobacco with me. They hold me and sing songs for me. Initially, I panic in the extreme heat. I panic from the inability to breathe in the hot steam bath air. Eventually, I realize my safety, my comfort, and all of my family here. I let go of my fear, and my body becomes the ground. With each round, it becomes easier. 4 rounds we go, 4 rounds of absolute heat, 1 for every direction. Some of us have been fasting all week. Others need to leave and sit outside before the ceremony is complete. I wonder what we look like from outside. I wonder if they can hear our muffled voices. I wonder if they too hear all of the spirits being raised. When we exit the lodge, the first thing I do is look up. My eyes turn into the dark. I see so many stars. I see our ancestors. They glow brightly, still. It's as if we raise them with our song. Like everywhere in Taos, a ceremony is followed by a feast. We dine around a large table. We get to know each other more deeply. The food tastes even better after our collective journey. Abundance is appreciated with gratitude. I feel lighter than air. My ride home, I practically fly there. In my sleep, I dream 1,000 dreams, and they're all about my growing family. Here are some haikus. The earth offers gifts, abundance at rainbow's end, revealed by the storm. Encountering bliss, heaven's colorful repose, paradise unfolds. Totally unreal. Sometimes landscapes are like paintings. Time with calm brushstrokes. Golden Mountain Pass. Road leads to uncertainty. Pines give up their ghosts. The mountains abide. Patience forgotten by man, reclaimed in balance. Forest opens wide. Her mossy thighs stream apart. Swooning, I am found. Father roots spill. You wouldn't believe it, growing so tall. Powerful force of magical bliss in order by feminine pressure. Night eclipses thought, overwhelmed by the moon's rays. Words no longer serve. We traveled so long, tickling curiosity till it got the hiccups. I'll read another journal piece. On the way to the Rocky Mountains, I witnessed whole forests depleted. Ponderosa pines, normally bright red with sunshine, turn gray as the life is sucked right out of them. Standing like zombies amidst their dying relatives, shells of a corpse. The trees are dying from something called pine bark beetles. These little beasts are going on parade in the summer haze. The pine bark beetles have always been an issue for these forests. They're not a foreign invader. The difference between them and now, or then and now, is global climate change. The pine bark beetles need a 3-day freeze to keep their eggs from living in any special quantity. That hasn't happened in a decade. It's left these forests unchecked. Pine bark beetle populations are sweeping the landscape, feeding on the sap of the trees for miles in every direction. Imagine death. Death is not some grim reaper. Death is the gray carcass of a dead tree that no longer breathes out oxygen. Now drive through it for more than an hour. A hefty tinderbox the size of an entire mountain range that spreads across our Midwestern horizon, waiting for a lightning strike that sets off an untamable apocalypse. As an eco-activist, I never thought a forest demise would come from the inside of it. These pine bark beetles are unlike any bulldozer or logging caravan. Chaining yourself to a tree to protect it has no use if the tree is being eaten alive from within. The dead forests continue from bottom edges of Colorado all the way up through Wyoming. Everywhere where the alpine forests were supposed to freeze and haven't in a decade because of climate changing. 3/4 of the forest dead, sometimes more. The chaos looking so much different from last year's forest fires in Yellowstone or Yosemite, wherein forest fires are usually complemented by green, new growth in a little under a year. these zombie husks of former trees seem to hold stubbornly onto the ground. They claim the ground dead too, not receiving any of the life-giving nutrients stuck in each trunk. I don't know if that one needs clapping. It's like it's real, but it's not over. I think we are alive today to figure it all out. And I agree with Crystal. Like, read John Trudell's Urgency. It speaks so many I don't know, just simple lessons that are like possible for all of us to take. All right, I'll read one more journal piece and a couple haikus. Trying to find the right one. All right. A good friend once said, "The moon speaks for the glaciers. Earth hardly listens." I've noticed my outward appearance begin to reflect my surroundings. My black t-shirt, growing bleach-stained roofs, a button-down printed with tiny tents among pine trees, a sweater with quilted fabric weaving it all together, and a new jean jacket camouflaged in ferns. Certainly normal for a dream poet, this reality blending into a collage of natural wonder, the body becoming just another piece of the forest. Blue, a fellow haiku poet from Philadelphia, told me at the beginning of this crazy adventure over 2 years ago, "Find your woods, Deerfield, find your woods." I always took it to mean find yourself, never realized the self could ultimately become the woods. 3 days in Glacier National Park, and I returned to the hike that I took in the park 2 years ago. That when I first ventured into this wilderness, fresh from Philadelphia, joined by Antonio Bandolini and Joe Simeon, my first road trip across the country. The trail is to Avalanche Lake, a turquoise blue wonder beneath melting glaciers, seated high above on freshly scarred peaks. The hike starts out in an old growth grove of cedar trees, some 1,000 years ago, some older. Walking amongst these elders reminds me of the many hikers with redwoods and Douglas fir, of the many hikes with redwoods and Douglas firs that I've taken in the last 2 years since that first road trip. Things I hadn't even imagined existed yet, that first time through. There's something about trees that old. They remain sacred through multiple human generations. Here are trees that the Kootenai and Salish people, indigenous to this area, revered as ancestors several centuries ago, stewarding their growth and passing on those traditions to their relatives today. I feel like I'm arriving home, not to any place in particular, but more to that feeling my heart gets when communing with giant trees of ancient eras. And here I am, standing in awe, when I notice a little sign next to one of those elders. On it is a drawing. Written beside the drawing is a little haiku. Of course, I burst out laughing. I follow the trail farther into the grove, and there are more drawings on more signs, and more corresponding haikus. Some of them even similar to haikus I just wrote. It's as if this sacred space is made for me. It's as if I were in a dream, as if manifested from the magic that can only be found amongst the oldest of trees. 2 years ago on that road trip, I found the name Deerfield and became a haikuist. Did I notice these haikus when I stumbled down this trail the first time? Did this place inspire me to write them? Are these haikus mine? Earth writes its own poetry. We human poets do our best to repeat as much of it back as we can. The longer we go about this process, the further open our hearts grow. Someday, maybe, becoming as wide as the branches of an ancient cedar. And here are some of those haikus found on road signs on a trail. Alive and gliding along sharp bends in the road, Who knows where we'll go? The car packed so tight, our minds are forced to expand outward and onward. Douglas firs, lifting, buzzing, bliss. Waves stimulate at peace with motion. Why did the tree cross the road? I don't know. Ask the lumberjack.
That's a good one.
Three travelers brave, no pathways left unexplored. Mystery prevails. Evergreen forest, covered in the sun's sweet light, expansive delight. Nothing is absent, eyes open to simple truths. Welcome to the frontier. The same freaking crow, every mile marker, shaman in disguise. Ancient melodies from trees, haunted night spirits, amongst us and within us. A lake so blue that jumping in feels like falling down into the sky. The trail is endless. Infinite can be chill too. Take a walk and see. Journey endlessly, heading towards that perfect home. Destination free. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Travel by Haiku, it's out now. If you'd like to purchase a copy, I have this one last copy left in Taos.
I want it.
I also have like a mail order as well, so I could like take your address and mail one to you in the future.